So we have some interesting news when it comes to the contract status of Ethan Page with Impact Wrestling, and unfortunately for Impact Wrestling fans, it doesn't look good for Impact because it has been reported by Fightful that Ethan Page is not expected to re-sign with Impact Wrestling. Now, one of Impact Wrestling's biggest stars, and certainly one of their top tag team stars, is expected to be leaving the promotion when his contract expires with Impact Wrestling in the very near future. Ethan Page's Impact Wrestling contract is set to expire on January 1st. This was first reported over the summer, and quite frankly, it's been a saga that's been ongoing since the summer. We've been reporting on it, discussing it, sharing our opinions on it. The community's been talking about it here on the channel ever since the summer. It's been one of the hot topics when it comes to Impact Wrestling. It's been teased by Ethan Page in a variety of medias, on Twitter, on YouTube, on every form of social media, it feels like, and the big discussion has been, will Ethan Page re-sign? Now, Fightful is reporting that Ethan Page is not expected to re-sign with Impact Wrestling. They haven't said which promotion he's expected to sign with. They haven't said what the situation was going to be in terms of his Impact Wrestling departure, but they are reporting that Ethan Page is not expected to re-sign with Impact Wrestling. Now, this was first announced when it comes to his contract expiring on January 1st, 2021, back in the summer, as I mentioned. This was made actually public by Ethan Page on social media. There was a tweet when someone asked Ethan Page the question, quote, "So when do you start printing money? #shredded. And Ethan Page responded, quote, "January 1, 2021, telling everyone, yep, my contract is up at the end of the year. And I don't know what's going to happen." Now, throughout the year, there had been a variety of reports, conflicting reports, as always with pro wrestling, about Ethan Page's status, that he did want to stay, he was interested in staying, he had been speaking to other promotions, he just wanted a good contract with Impact Wrestling. He even did an interview, I think, with Sports Illustrated, talking about this, saying his number one priority was Ethan Page coming back to Impact Wrestling. But Fightful Select has announced that when it comes to Ethan Page, there hadn't been a new deal agreed when it comes to his contract with Impact Wrestling. Now, this was a quote on their Fightful Select service. We actually did report on this a couple of weeks ago. This was the quote that was interesting here. It said, quote, "There are several wrestlers who have not re-signed new deals, and unless terms are reached, you won't see them at the next set of tapings. One of those is Ethan Page, who reaches free agency at the end of the year. For those wondering, Josh Alexander does not." Of course, Josh Alexander actually signed a 3-year contract extension with Impact Wrestling back in 2019, so he's not expected to leave until 2022. So it's going to likely be the end of the North as well, just in professional wrestling, at least for a couple of years. So this is interesting. To be honest, and I spoke about this before when we've spoken about Ethan Page on the channel, as time goes on, and as time has gone on when it comes to this saga about his contract, won't he re-sign with Impact Wrestling, the more that time went on, the more I felt he wasn't going to re-sign. If he was going to re-sign, I felt like it would probably have been in the last month or so, or at least last month. I felt like there would have been a big announcement, and look, obviously negotiations have been ongoing, but they haven't been able to reach terms. The more that time went on, the more I felt, you know what, he's probably going to be out the door here, which is a massive shame. You have to look at what he's done in Impact Wrestling, and Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, the North, they hold the record for the longest reign as Impact World Tag Team Champions. They actually are 2-time Impact World Tag Team Champions. They just lost their tag team championships against Kyle Anderson and Doc Gallows at Impact Turning Point last month. And Ethan Page, as I mentioned, over the last few months, especially since the summer, but specifically over the last few months, he's been really hinting that he is finished up with Impact Wrestling, or at least the last TV tapings were going to be his last. His most recent vlog saying this is possible, it was titled essentially, "Is this going to be possibly the last Impact TV taping that I do?" And if you look at the content of the vlog, he talked about traveling with Josh Alexander like he always does, but he wanted to capture all the footage because this could be the last time he ever appears on Impact Wrestling TV. This could be his last Impact TV taping, and he's been he's not shied away. He's not shied away saying, like, look, I could be out the door. He hasn't officially confirmed it because whilst he's still technically under contract, he's not going to come out and say, I've signed with AEW or I've signed with NXT and WWE. He wouldn't do that. He'd actually be in breach of contract. But he has continued to hint that this could be it when it comes to Impact Wrestling. And if you are regular viewers of his vlog, which I recommend that you are, they're actually very well put together, very insightful, and quite frankly, very entertaining, which is the most important thing. It has felt like when you've seen his content recently that he always does the vlog for the entertainment side of things and just expanding his presence on social media, his reputation. But if you've watched those vlogs recently, they have very much felt like a goodbye. And the reason why he's interacting with so many people and getting so many people on camera and capturing so many moments, it's felt like he wanted a document of his final times with Impact Wrestling. It kind of felt like that, especially when it comes to his travels with Josh Alexander. Obviously, he worked with Swoggle. He's very close friends with Swoggle, and he actually spoke to him for a while on one of his vlogs saying, I'm really glad we were able to do this. And he was very careful about the words he used, but he kind of was implying, I'm glad that we were able to do this in Impact before I go somewhere else. That's definitely what it said to me. So that's why, again, along with those recent vlogs and the way that time just progressed without any real update about him signing a deal or even being close to signing a deal, I just felt like, you know what, he's going to leave. Now, in terms of Ethan Page and his final appearances for Impact Wrestling, he will face Carl Anderson tonight at Impact Final Resolution. The storyline is if he wins, he and Josh Alexander will get another championship opportunity. Now, if you go and watch the Final Resolution preview and predictions video I said that there kind of could be several outcomes to this one. Obviously, there are several outcomes to any pro wrestling match, but the point being, I think every outcome leads to Ethan Page leaving and the North splitting up. So that is in a variety of ways. Ethan Page could lose tonight, and Josh Alexander could, after the match, attack him, go, you're worthless, you cost us the World Tag Team Championships, you cost us opportunities at the World Tag Team Championships by taking out Doc Gallows, and now you ruined this opportunity, beats him up, that's the North gone. They have an Ethan Page versus Josh Alexander match before the end of the year, before Page's contract expires, and then Ethan Page leaves. They could do that. Or, of course, they could have Ethan Page win tonight. You have the North then get their opportunity at the Impact World Tag Team Championships, have their final match against the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers obviously then win. And then post-match, you have Josh Alexander and Ethan Page go their separate ways. Josh Alexander attack him, whatever. And then maybe, once again, have the match as Ethan Page's final match in Impact Wrestling. You could do that way. All of the scenarios at this point say to me that he was going to leave, and now this report confirms it. If you look at the way that it's been presented on TV as well for the last couple of weeks on Impact, on Access TV, it's been saying that Ethan Page is leaving, or at the very least that the North is splitting up. Going back, 3 or 4 weeks at this point, ever since really they lost the Impact World Tag Team Championships at Turning Point, Josh Alexander has been frustrated with Ethan Page in storyline, even when Ethan Page announced that somebody had taken out Doc Gallows, and then it was revealed to be Ethan Page, of course. Josh Alexander was furious at this. Ethan Page thought he was going to be happy, and Josh Alexander was like, well, great, you took out a World Tag Team Champion. That means we can't challenge for the World Tag Team Championships. That means we can't get our World Tag Team titles back. Once again, this past week on Impact Wrestling, the opening match of the show had Josh Alexander facing Chris Sabin. The finish of the match was Ethan Page at ringside telling Josh Alexander what to do, go for the pile driver, finish it off. Josh Alexander says to him, I know what to do, I know what I'm doing. This distraction allowed Chris Sabin to get the jackknife pin on Josh Alexander for the victory, and post-match there was once again this dissension between Josh Alexander and Ethan Page. It's been telling us for a while now, the North are going their separate ways, which in reality means Ethan Page is leaving. We need to make Josh Alexander look strong as Ethan Page departs the company. That's what this whole storyline has been saying. And it is a massive shame. If you've watched any of the videos that I've done here on the channel, and I've spoken about Ethan Page and his future with Impact Wrestling, and I've spoken about his contract status with Impact, I've said that I felt like I wanted to see him stay. Not he needed to stay, but I felt like I wanted him to stay because if I could offer him some advice, I would say, you don't need to rush it. You don't need to rush it. Look at how he's transformed over this year. Obviously, he always had the promo. That was his biggest thing. He always had the promo and he always had the charisma. And that is so hard to teach. Nowadays, it's so lopsided when it comes to pro wrestling. The majority of people in pro wrestling are phenomenal athletes. Whether they do come from a sporting background or they're just pro wrestling fans, they're in the industry. They can do amazing things in the ring. The level of athlete now in pro wrestling is unbelievable. It absolutely is. Far better than it ever probably was. The thing that has kind of suffered because of that and because of the high spots and because of the level of athlete is the promo. The art of the promo has died off slightly. That's for a variety of reasons. One, because of the in-ring work and because of the high spots, it's become not less important but less used. Obviously, when it comes to companies like WWE, their over-reliance on scripting and and producers and overproducing segments and having writers write every single word and having them recite it verbatim has kind of killed off the art of the spontaneous promo and allowing charisma and the natural character to come out of a pro wrestler. The art of the promo has been lost slightly, but people like Ethan Page just have it. They absolutely have it. They have the ability to cut a natural, believable promo. They have the just natural charisma that you don't see that often. And that has always been his strong suit. People's criticism of him in the past would have been, maybe he doesn't have the look to truly succeed because he didn't have the greatest physique, he didn't have the best look, and Ethan Page has radically changed that over the last year. He lost a ton of weight, he looks to be in the best shape of his career. Now he really is the total package. Now he has the promos, the charisma, but the look and the in-ring style. He's a world champion waiting to happen. Therefore, I would have always said, when it comes to Ethan Page and Impact Wrestling, I would have said stay a year. Do the breakup with Josh Alexander in the North, because that kind of did feel inevitable. It kind of did feel like, you know what, they have done everything that they could possibly do in Impact. And you have to remember, this wasn't a tag team that came into Impact as a tag team. These were two singles guys that were put together and became a tag team and had unbelievable success. So their aspirations were always going to probably be as single stars. But I would have said to Josh Alexander and Ethan Page, you know what, Josh Alexander isn't going to leave for a while. Ethan Page, stay for a year or stay for however long Josh Alexander is staying for. Do the split. Do the program between the two members of the North that lasts 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Make yourself into single stars, and then Ethan Page can and probably would become a world champion in Impact Wrestling. He could be a world champion in Impact Wrestling today as a single star. So I would have said, yes, you could have options like AEW and WWE right now. Of course, both promotions would want to sign you and offer you a great deal to sign with the company, but the deal probably and the options would be even better. The spot would be even better if they knew they were signing a former Impact World Champion, a guy that's already proved he can be a single star. Now, if he goes to AEW or NXT right now, he probably will be a success. I have no doubts about that because he is so talented, but imagine the hype and level of him going into an AEW or an NXT being a world champion already in Impact. I think that would be the next step for him. So that's why I would have said, you know, sign on for a year, become a world champion, elevate your stock even higher, because he's on the rise. He's not on the way down, he's on the rise. He's on the rise. So in terms of his options, I mentioned them there. Obviously the big options are AEW and NXT. I've kind of always felt that he would sign with AEW. We know Cody Rhodes is a big fan of his. Cody Rhodes is a good friend of his. Obviously, he will always kind of have these ties, I think, with Impact Wrestling because he obviously owns a promotion that does air on the Impact Plus app. But speaking of his relationship with Cody Rhodes, in his own promotion, he was one half of the tag team champions with Cody Rhodes. That relationship is there. Cody Rhodes is a huge fan. That's why I always said that I always felt like he would go to AEW because, look, if he goes to NXT, this is a guy, Ethan Page, that's got so many outside interests, whether it is doing independent dates or having his own vlog, having his own promotion. As soon as he goes to WWE, that is all gone. That just isn't going to happen. So I kind of felt like as a guy with so many outside interests, whether it is just the vlog or the outside promotion or whatever, that would be killed off immediately. And I don't think, why would he want to do that at the moment? Why would he want to stop streaming, vlogging, doing his own stuff? AEW will absolutely allow him to do that. So that's why I always felt that he would go to AEW. So, again, it is slightly disappointing. I felt that there was more for him to do and achieve in Impact Wrestling as a single star. But I suppose a positive could be with this budding AEW and Impact Wrestling working relationship, this might not actually be the last appearance of Ethan Page in Impact Wrestling. He could sign a deal with AEW, but he could still be appearing in Impact pretty frequently if this talent trade and crossover even expands more to other wrestling stars outside of Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. If we start seeing Cody Rhodes come over, we can then start seeing Ethan Page go back and forth. So just because he signs a contract with AEW doesn't mean that potentially he doesn't return to Impact Wrestling very, very soon. As I mentioned, this has been a saga since the summer when it comes to Ethan Page. His whole contract negotiations, his whole contract status had been something that had been discussed for the last 4, 5, 6 months. And people wanted a resolution to it, irony being that tonight's event is called Final Resolution. But what I said previously has come to pass here, that we wouldn't have to wait long to get an update when it comes to Ethan Page because, quite frankly, his contract is running out of time. And now it would appear, according to Fightful, that he's not expected to re-sign. As I mentioned, I really can't see him going to NXT and WWE. I think he just has so many outside interests that at this point, would he be willing to give them up? I don't think so. Would he go to NXT and sacrifice all of those outside interests? You know what? I just don't think so. What is interesting is that he had previously said in that interview with Sports Illustrated that his priority was Impact Wrestling, but he was allowed by Impact Wrestling to speak to those other promotions. Obviously, he had negotiations with Impact and he just couldn't come to terms, which is interesting because, of course, this is kind of the same situation as the Rascals in their departure from Impact Wrestling, because they negotiated with Impact. It wasn't cut and dry like they had to leave or they wanted to leave. They negotiated with Impact. They couldn't come to terms, and now Des and Wentz are with WWE. Trey Miguel is still considering offers from WWE and AEW. So it's interesting that we've had a couple of talents now. Contracts expire with Impact and negotiations, and the desire has been there to stay, but for whatever reason they couldn't come to terms. I don't know what story that tells. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, but it certainly is interesting, and overall, look, it's just a huge loss to Impact. He's one of their brightest stars, I would have said, on the roster, and certainly a superstar, a potential superstar in the making, and a wrestler with a ton of potential. And again, I felt like he could have done more in Impact, but there is no doubt in my mind he will have major success where he goes, especially in a company like AEW, which is where I think he will go. But of course, as always, it's just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on Ethan Page being expected not to re-sign with Impact Wrestling, according to Fightful? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, chatting about Impact Wrestling, WWE, AEW, NXT, all that fun stuff here on the channel. So be sure to get involved in the community below and share your opinions. All opinions are welcome. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button. Really does help us out here on YouTube. Go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or have you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.